Here we go again. 18. Sed antia literally means but before or in the time before. Item, adverb. Likewise. Coniuvere, it's a shortened form of coniuverunt. Porci is our nominative, it means a few people. So, but a few people before had likewise conspired or made a conspiracy contra Republica, against the Republic, in quibus, in which Catilinae fuit, Catiline was. De qua, concerning which, de takes the ablative, quam verissimi potero decam. Quam with the superlative, verissimo, means so, as truthfully is what it translates as. When you have a superlative, it means as much as. So as truthfully, potero as I'm able, decam I shall speak. El tullo et am lepido consulibus, so this means it would be El Tullius or Tullus and Lepidus were consuls, P. Autronius and P. Sulla designati consuls, they were the next consul elects to be, legibus ambitus interrogate poenas dederant. So by a law, legibus by laws, ambitus, this is literally means in a circuit, but it means here it's bribery or something like that. So they were interrogated, they were indicted, and they were, looks like given the punishment, but literally it means, it's sort of reversed in English, you say paid the penalty, which can be fines and loss of office and permanent expulsion from the Senate, apparently. Okay, so we'll have a daily dictionary out of the list of all words in the downloads. Ambitus, it's a fourth. Going around, orbit, revolution, ostentation, show, circumference, and bribery. And I've got a dictionary thing here in the top 1,000 words of elementary Latin books. Canvassing, bribery, circumlocation, orbit, show, etc. Okay. So, post Paulo, after a little while, Catilinae, that's Catiline. Pecuniarum repetendarum reus. So we have a little double genitive. We have the gerund form there. So Catilinae in that position is a reus, which means he was a defendant. He was accused of something. Of repetendering pecunia. This is extorting money. Prohibitus erat consulatum petere. So he was prohibited erat, taking the infinitive, of seeking consulship because of this crime. Quod, because intra legitimos dees, we see the Sallust use of I there, inside of the legitimate days, or the days which he had to do it, nec quiravet, he was not able, taking the infinitive, to profess his name within the, so it doesn't look like where he got done for bribery was what prohibited it. Looks like it was because he didn't proffer his name in the legitimate days. Erat eodem tempore, which is the ablative, so there was in that same time, what do you call it, Gnaeus Piso, an adolescens nobilis, a noble young man or an adolescent of nobility or of a higher family. Summa adocia, so he's got the height of boldness and audacity, you might want to say. Egans, he was lacking, he was needy, he was possibly didn't have any money. Factitiosus, so he was prone to going into factions, etc., or intrigues. Quam whom, to the perturbandum republica, by inopia, so this is ablative, this is inopia again, that's poverty and lack, and mali mores, this is the plural, having bad mores, what do you call that in English, characteristics and inborn sort of nature. So here's the verb stimulabant, the imperfect. He was stimulated to these perturbing, which is confusing and causing trouble in the Republic, by his lack of money and his bad characteristic. So cum hoc Catilina et Autronius. I don't think that's when here. It looks like cum hoc's the ablative. So when this guy, Piso, in the ablative, Catiline and Autronius, around the nonos Decemberis, which would be December 5th, 66, parabant, preparing to do something, concilio communicado, Communicados means when you're very intimate and familiar with someone. So Catiline and Autronius communicado their concilium, so they must have shared their plan with in this friendly interaction with Hoc. Hoc was Piso. They're preparing on the Capitoline, which is like a hill. Calends Januarius, this would be a time. The Calends Januarius is the 1st of January. Janus is their god looking back to December and forwards to the new year. El Cota and El Torquatum consuls. These are the consuls Cotta and Torquus, is his name. Torquatus. Interficere. So this is the shared communicado concilio with Hoc, Piso. They were parabanting, they're preparing to interficere, to kill these consuls, Cotta and Torquatus, in the Capitoline on the 1st of January. Ipsi correptus. With them themselves, ipsi corrupting, seizing the fascibuses, which are the fasces, sign of power. Pisoam cum exercitu to obtenius dues hispanius mitera. And so then they were, part of their plan that they were parabanting is to send Piso with an army to obtenendus, which is a gerundivia, the female plural version in the accusative. Ad takes the accusative. So he was going to obtain or take power over the two Spains. This was their plan of Catiline and Autronius. Ire, which is the pronoun for the female. So with this matter, cognita, this is a little ablative section. So when this matter was known, someone else found out about it, obviously. Rursus, again, in nones Februarius, this is in with the accusative, so towards this or into this date. The concilium catus transtoleranted. So they transtoleranted, or they transferred this concilium, this plan of slaughter, or for slaughtering, to the nones of February from the calends of January, obviously. Iam tum, so now or now then, we might want to say, or right then, non modo, not only consulibus, this is a dative or ablative plural, not only the consuls, but plurus qui senatoribus, but many senators. So before they wanted to kill the consuls, now it's not only the consuls, but many senators. Pernicium, which is a destruction. Machinabantur, they were making machinations, or their plan was now a destruction. And these must be datives, I'm guessing, destructions to not only the consuls, but to many senators. Quodne, it's like quad C. Quad C would mean but if, so this means but not. So I don't know how you're going to put that yet. Catiline, maturasset. He had done something too early. When something matures, it happens early. Pro curia, in front of the Senate House, which is the curia. Signum socius dare. So what's happening here? But that Catiline had maturasset. He had too early dared the signum, given the signal to his socius, to his allies, in front of the curia. Eo on that day, post conditum urbem Romanum, since the founding or after the founding of the Roman city, the pesumum facinus patratum foret. That's the supine version of paratum. Patratum, which means been completed, and foret is a future going with that as well. So unless he gave the signal to his allies, his friends, too early, that day would have been the pessumus facinus, the worst crime perpetrated or perpetrated since after the founding of the city. And obviously the founding of the city wasn't an evil crime, but it's in time and space. Quia, because nondum, not yet, frequentes amati convenerant, this crowd of armed people had not convenerated, they had not convened together, not yet anyway. Ea res, these matters or circumstances, diremented their concilium, their plan. Direment probably means destroyed here or ended it. Postea, afterwards, Piso in Citerium Hispania, this is interior Spain. Quaestor, so obviously Piso and Quaestor are appositions. Pro praetor missus est, so he was sent as a praetor quaestor instead of a praetor, protex ablative. Ad nitente, present participle, crasso. Quod eam infestum inimicum gnaeus Pompeius cognoverat. So afterwards, Piso, with the ad nitente of Crasso, with the support of Crassus, he was misassessed, sat into interior Spain. Just a little bit about quaestor and praetor. So he was only a quaestor, but he had the powers of a praetor, which actually has more power. Because cognoverat, because he was known that eum, him, was investum, hostile. Inimic means enemy, so he was a hostile enemy to, looks dative to Pompey. Something like that. Nequi, and neither tamen, nevertheless, yet or still, the senatus, the senate, provinciam invitus, the senate is invitus, unwilling or unreluctant, well, they were reluctant, and the Nequi cancelled it, so that they were not unwilling to dederat the province, to give him the province. Remember, this is Piso was being sent there because Crassus knew he was an enemy of Pompey in that context. Quibi sens, a foedum hominum, he was a foul human, a republic procolis a volubat, and they wanted him, taking the to be procol, far from the republic, or the centre of the republic. Same time, quia, because, boni complores, many good people, good men probably, a presidium in him pudibent. They were thinking that in him would be a presidium, a garrison or a protection, and iam tum, right then, potentia Pompei. Okay, so he would be a protection against Pompey. We see him in that form there. Formidulosus, who was formidable, basically, you might want to say, in potentia, which is power. So this is what the good people, many good people were thinking, that it would be some sort of protection or garrison that they could, or something they could use against Pompey, who was being formidable. And I'll scroll it down a bit. How far we got to go to there? Said, but is Piso, he Piso, in provincia, in the province, ab equitibus Hispanis, by Spanish knights or cavalry, quos, who, in exercito doctabat, who he was leading in his army, ita faciens, present participle, making his journey, occisos, he was killed. So Piso was killed in the province, making the journey. Sunt qui, there are those who, ita dicen, who say thus or so, imperius injustitia, that his giving the orders was unjust, his power was unjust. Superba, he was proud, arrogant, superbia. Crudele was cruel. The barbarus nec quavici pati. So the barbarians did not want to endure or suffer his unjust power and arrogance and cruelty. Alias autem, others, we have these who, going with Ali here. However, or moreover, these equites, these cavalry, veterans, fidosque clientins to Pompey. These were the veterans and those who were loyal clients, basically, if you know what the clients and patrons are, to Pompey. So that's who they were thinking that these other people thought they could have been loyal to him. And by voluntate eus, by his will, his voluntate, aggressos Piso, they had attacked Piso. Okay. Numquem aspenas praeterea tale facinus fecici, sed imperius salve multa antia perpessos. Okay. So numquem, never had the Spanox, the Spaniards, praeter before tale facinus fecici. Fecici means having done, tale facinus, such crimes, such a deed. Said imperius savor, this savage power, multi antia perpessos, so much of this savage power or control, antia before, antia is before, praeter is afterwards, perpessos, they'd suffered. This would be a past passive here. Nos, that's we, it's us. Eam rem, this matter in medio relinquimus. We shall leave this matter in the middle. Okay. De superior coniurate satis dictum. Speaking of the above conspiracy, dictum satis, enough is said. Okay, so the above conspiracy was the first Catiline conspiracy. But 20. Catilinae ubeis, when these, quas, Paulo ante memoravi, who a little before, Paulo ante is a little before, memori, I've commemorated or remembered, convenissi vidit, when he saw, which is head verb taken infinity, when he saw these convened, convenated, tametsi, though, or although, cum singulis, when one at a time, or singularly, multa sapi eger, when he had egerated or conducted himself much often one at a time. So though many things he'd often done with them one at a time, Tamen, nevertheless, in rem fore, in the matter that's in the future, fore, credens, he was believing, if that's an adjective or a present participle, whatever it is, he was believing that he would appel and cohortare universally. So he'd often interacted with them singularly. Now he was going to address them, appellare them, and cohortare, to encourage them universally or together. In abditem partem adium, he seceded. So, removed or further away part of the adium of the house, he retreated, basically, seceded. And atqui ibi, and there, omnis arbitris procol motus. So, motus means remove, this is the blade of absolute. With all the arbiters, which are witnesses, with all the witnesses removed, procol far away. Oration, huius modo of this type, he habuited. He had a speech or an oration of this nature.